Would I get this again? I would say absolutely, because I love the look of it and it is quite effective. With the clip-on visor, it is even more effective. Hi guys, this is going to be an installation video of the Batwing. A big thank you to Chris for hooking me up with a source in Florida, so thank you so much. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is removing this screw right here, and this is going to free up this plastic housing for the harness so that we can move it out of the way. And the other thing we're going to be removing is this cover over here so that we can get to the dashboard. And you know, because of the risers, this is going to be a little bit tricky to try to figure things out, but we'll figure it out together. The other thing is we need to remove these screws over here around the light housing. Okay, first one out, we're gonna set that off to the side. Okay, so let's remove the bracket right now. And this is, by the way, an 8mm nut. Okay. This is the bracket. Just remember how it goes on so that you guys can reinstall it in the same fashion. Now we need to remove this, and it's actually held in place just by a rubber grommet. So all you need to do is just kind of pull. See that? And that way it is moved out of the way. Okay? This will allow us better access to the nut holding the housing for the light. All right, next we're going to remove these screws over here so we can attach the screen cowl attachment. Okay, so it's going to go like that. It does come with its own set of screws. Next, I'm going to remove the screws holding the dashboard in place. Are the spacers. I might have to actually use them since they didn't include the spacers that were supposed to be included. Okay, so these are the M6 screws that we added with the spacers. All right, so now we're going to remove the bolt that's holding the light housing bracket. And this is the tool that is going to be very useful, which is a snub nose hex key. That was fairly easy. Having the right tool definitely helps. Okay, so this does look like a little bit of a mess, so it took a minute to try to figure this out. So these connectors over here that were connected like this need to be removed and also taken off of the metal bracket over here. All right, so the easiest way that I found to be able to do this is once you flip this over, get to the back side of the connector. You see right here? I tore a little hole in it because this is the easiest way that I found to get to the little clip to release, which is that gray thing you see in there. You hear that? What you do is, with your nail, You pull down the tab and pull. And that disconnects these connectors from this metal bracket. See it? This is what's going to allow us to attach the stay over here to accommodate the risers. Okay, so now all the connectors are disconnected and off this metal bracket. So they were connected right here. So they're all off. Black goes to black, gray goes to gray, and the large one goes to the large one. So we'll move these out of the way so that we can try to put the fairing stay over here. Next, we have this rubber grommet that is going to go under the top bridge. There's a little detent over here that this is going to fit inside of. Okay, once you remove the indicator light, you'll be able to get access to it. The stay, if you can see the stay, this part here is going to slide in. Okay, so in this fashion, like that, and then this is going to slide in up here. I'll try to get a better view in a sec. So this is, you're going to feel for it. You'll see that there's a hole in there that this is going to just slide into. Okay, there we go. We're in there now. And also we have to remove the signal from the other side as well so that we can gain access underneath for the same rubber grommet. Okay, so let's install the stay. This is going to be a little bit tricky and is going to require a lot of patience. So we're going to be installing it in this configuration. So move the light forward a little bit, keep your cables in check, and there we go. Now these over here are going to go under the top bridge in those rubber grommets that we had installed. Okay, like I said, this is going to require some patience. Route the cables accordingly. And you're going to have to manipulate the dashboard as well to get everything to align the right way. See how the cables now are routed in this area right here so that it can give us the space that we need for the risers and the spacers that we're going to be using. Search for the rubber grommet under the tree. Like I said, this is going to require a lot of patience, you guys, so be prepared. Once we get the bracket behind the housing, my recommendation, and of course, yes, behind the housing, but also inside those rubber grommets that I had showed you guys. So this finger goes in there, and then there's one on the other side as well. Once they go in, my recommendation is use zip ties wrap around to hold this bracket in place, and you'll see why in a minute. And there's another one over here as well. It's just holding this bracket in place. It's going to make our lives easier when we're going to be tackling this section over here. So this is the housing for the light, and that's why I asked you guys to protect the lower bridge. Put some tape, double up on it as well, because you're going to scratch up the paint over here. So the trick is we need to put this spacer right there, and then this goes on top, and the screw goes in there in this hole. The problem is the tolerances are so tight, it's very difficult to maneuver and to put it in place. So let's try to do this together. Okay, so let's attach the bracket to the housing on top of the lower bridge. And like I said, we're going to be using these spacers to go in here. Then we're going to manipulate it to try to get it in. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the spacers in place. And you can see the housing is actually not attached, it's free, it's moving. Then we're going to pull a little bit to align the bracket. And now that we are in this position, we need to get this over the bridge like that. But you see, it's a little tricky, so you need to have a lot of patience. Just keep working it, you'll get it. I'm going to try to show you how I do it, or how I did it, and maybe this will be helpful to you guys. Okay, so once we are in this position where the spacers are over the hole and under the bracket, what we want to do is we want to tilt this light forward so that this lip will go over the bottom bridge. Once the lip goes over the bottom bridge, when we tilt it forward, we can push it back and hopefully everything should align. So we're going to just tilt this forward. Do you see? You see how the lip is now over and the spacers are almost in place. So just keep manipulating it to get it as close as possible. And now what we want to do is we want to push and tilt. There you go. Okay? And that's how it's done. Now that it's in position, we need to put the bolts in, and we'll do that next. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the spacers in place. And you can see the housing is actually not attached, it's free, it's moving. Then we're going to pull a little bit to align the bracket. And now that we are in this position, we need to get this over the bridge like that. But you see, it's a little tricky, so you need to have a lot of patience. Just keep working it, you'll get it. I'm going to try to show you how I do it, or how I did it, and maybe this will be helpful to you guys. Okay, so once we are in this position where the spacers are over the hole and under the bracket, what we want to do is we want to tilt this light forward so that this lip will go over the bottom bridge. Once the lip goes over the bottom bridge, when we tilt it forward, we can push it back and hopefully everything should align. So we're gonna just tilt this forward. Do you see? You see how the lip is now over and the spacers are almost in place. So just keep manipulating it to get it as close as possible. And now what we want to do is we want to push and tilt. There you go. Okay? And that's how it's done. This is the best way that I found to get to the bolt over here that's holding the housing for the light, and this is what the actual bracket attaches to. Let's see if you guys can see right there. Okay, so the best way is that I found, the easiest way is to get extensions, connect them together to get the desired length, and I highly recommend that you guys get the ball head Allen key. And then we're going to come in from the top, right there, all the way down. There, do you hear it? Right there. Now that the stay is in place, the light is in place, I've already put the bolt in there, prepped on both sides. And this would be a good time to get rid of the zip ties. We don't need them anymore. There's one. Get the other one as well. All right. Okay, now we need to screw in the bolts over here. And this is where the extension is going to come in handy. So again, we're going to come in from the top, go straight down until you make positive contact with it, and just gently make sure that it's being screwed in, and just gently tighten it. There we go. Because you're using the ball head, be careful, push down as you are tightening so that it doesn't strip. Okay, that one is done. And let's do the other side. Okay, let's do the other side. Okay, make sure that you have positive contact. Once again, push down hard and turn so that you don't strip, okay? Because we're using the ball head. And now the stay is firmly attached. The extension is gonna come in handy. So again, we're gonna come in from the top, go straight down until you make positive contact with it, and just gently make sure that it's being screwed in, and just gently tighten it. There we go. Because you're using the ball head, be careful, push down as you are tightening so that it doesn't strip. Okay, that one is done. Now we're going to attach the gray pin over here for the dashboard. And make sure that the rubber gasket goes around to protect the pin from the elements. The next step is going to be to attach the screw and the spacers. Now, the kit comes with its own bolt, and instead of spacers, it comes with a collar, what they call a collar. Unfortunately, my kit didn't come with the collar, and I decided to reuse my screws, not the bolts that they provided. Okay, and these are going to go right here, like that. Next, we're going to attach the dashboard in this configuration, right there. We're going to be using these two screws that they provided. This setup here is to work with the 4-inch risers, or any other risers that you guys might be using. In the stock configuration, right there, these holes are actually going to go in here. So these holes, the screws are going to hold the bracket lower, and these holes over here are going to be for the wind cover that goes on. So I'm doing it a little bit differently because of my risers. So look at the instructions that come, and you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, so regarding the cables over here, you guys can route them in such a way so that they're not visible, and then you can use zip ties to put them anywhere that you want. Okay? Now we're going to attach the housing for the wiring harness, and it goes in over here. Just take note of how the cables are routed, and there's a little detent over here, and that goes into a rubber grommet up top, and it goes behind over here. Okay? There we go. Now it's time to attach the indicator light. Push it all the way up to the top. Align. There we go. Now we need to attach the bracket that goes over here to hold the cables in place. Now we're going to attach the second indicator. Now it's time to attach the Batwing. What we want to do is we're going to start off with the bottom ones first, the top ones second, and then we'll do the middle ones. This is the best way to get it attached. So we have these rubber holders, and we are going to put one on the right. That's what you want to do. You want to get it into the hole like that on both sides. Let's get the top ones in. Now let's do the middle ones. Okay, let me do the other side. Okay, now it's time to attach the windscreen, and what we need to do is attach the well nut right here, and the kit comes with 3 washers, a well nut, and a screw. So you'll get the black one, put it on the well nut, like that. And then we're going to put the well nut in here and slide it up into position. The screw, you have a soft washer and a nylon washer. So the soft washer is going to go up against the screen so that we don't damage it, right? Now that the well nuts are in place, let's attach the screen. And just like that, we are done with the installation. And this is what it looks like. I know it's a little bit of a pain to get it done, but I appreciate the look of it. And why don't we take it out for a spin to see how it does on the highway. So let's try out this screen, see how effective it is. The first thing that I've noticed is how smooth the air is when it's hitting. So right now it's actually coming straight at eye level. I'm doing 55 miles an hour, and just wanted to show you what that looks like. Do you see where the air blast is? So it puts it right at eye level. You see? But it's not turbulent, it's very smooth air, which is different than the Buick screen that we had. That one created a lot of turbulence. I did feel that. But if you take a look over here, Okay, let's take it up to 70 miles an hour and see what it does. Again, it's quite smooth in terms of the air. It's not as turbulent. This is 60 miles an hour. And you see where the air is? See, right here there's nothing. Right there. This is at 80 miles an hour. All right, so let's try the same test with the clip-on visor on. This is at the highest setting right now. This is at 60 miles an hour. As you can see, it does actually push the air much further up. So it's actually right there. And that's on top, at the top of my helmet. Okay, so take it to 80. See, right at the top of the helmet. And the air is actually stable, it is not turbulent. Now that you guys saw what it did on the highway at speeds of 50, 60, 70, and 80 miles an hour with the clip-on visor on, as well as the stock configuration, and you saw where the wind blast is basically at eye level. The question is, would I get this again? I would say absolutely, because I love the look of it and it is quite effective. With the clip-on visor, it is even more effective. So for let's say a multi-day tour, if you're going on long distance, let's say a tour over 500 miles, up to 1,000 miles and more, definitely I would recommend putting the clip-on visor, because that's going to increase your comfort level. It's going to deflect the bugs. It's going to help in rain as well. So yes, I do definitely recommend putting on the clip-on visor for that purpose. Having said that, the clip-on visor does add to the ugly factor, and definitely this is not something that I am interested in, so it's coming off for the foreseeable future. I hope you found this review helpful, you guys.